Mr. Mahiya, thanks for your time. Explain to us what is going on in Zimbabwe right now.
Oh, thank you very much. Zimbabwe is heading towards the cliff. We have to rescue ourselves with the support of SADC and the international community. The challenges that we have in Zimbabwe are political. They stem from a political dispute, a legitimate crisis. The social contract in Zimbabwe between the government and those that govern is irretrievably broken down. There is an increase in human rights violations and the weaponization of the law. The government is silencing all critics by all voices that are critical of the state, by arresting them arbitrarily, by abductions, use of fear and intimidation, and there is a breakdown in social services. Doctors are on strike, and yet we are in the midst of fighting the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
We are in a serious crisis, and the government is paranoid, and citizens are angry and hungry, and we are heading for a very serious shutdown, and something has to be done.
Talk to us about the planned anti-government demonstrations that are going to take place next week. That is what we understand. What has government's response been to the organization of this protest?
The response of government has been the predictable. Government has arrested the leaders, people that were leading the process, people that exposed the corruption that is infuriated citizens. It has arrested a number of citizens. A number of civil society leaders are in hiding, are not staying in their houses because they know that government will come and send the militias and state security to abduct citizens and to arrest them. So government has responded the way it has always responded, using coercive apparatus and using force. And yet, in our view, the government has to respond by engaging the citizens and creating conditions that are conducive for dialogue, for a national dialogue, so that we solve the national crisis that we all face. So government has done what is expected, or what it has always done, to repress, to coerce, to arrest, and to silence dissenting voices.
So nothing has really changed between the Mnangagwa administration and what his predecessor did, Robert Mugabe, which was essentially running a dictatorship in Zimbabwe. Would that be your assessment of things right now?
Our assessment is that this dictatorship is even worse because it gave people the impression that it was willing to reform in November 2017. It's even worse because people had expectations, because they participated in 2017 in demonstrations that led to the ouster of former President Robert Gabriel Mugabe. So there was an expectation by the citizens. And you realize that there are a number of civil society leaders, a number of business leaders that gave this government a chance, but the government has done exceptionally well in betraying the trust of the citizens and the confidence that they had in giving them a chance to do better and to reform.
Give us a sense of the handling of the coronavirus pandemic. It sounds like there is a government there that is completely in panic and almost paralyzed about what it has got to do to try and respond appropriately. We saw pictures of some Chinese nationals at the airport leaving because the understanding or the allegation is that they are not sure about government's handling, and Zimbabwe is basically preparing for the worst when it comes to this pandemic. How has government handled that, and are those reports true that some foreign nationals are actually leaving Zimbabwe in droves?
We appreciate that the COVID pandemic is a global pandemic. and it has come at a time when no one else was prepared for it. But what our government has done is disheartening. You cannot be prepared. You cannot say you are prepared in dealing with the pandemic when doctors and nurses are on strike and are not working at the hospital. You cannot say you are prepared to deal with that when health workers are not working, when they have not been incentivized. You cannot say you are ready and prepared to deal with the pandemic when you pay the security forces more than you pay the nurses and the doctors and the teachers. So the government has politicized the pandemic. It has taken advantage of the pandemic, of the COVID situation, to close democratic space. It has taken advantage of this pandemic to ensure that there is a one-party state in destroying the opposition. During that time, the government has obviously, all the efforts that have been made, you've seen the corruption in the acquisition and the procurement of COVID PPEs and drugs. Government, yes, obviously, all this is in secret. A lot that has been done by the state has not been to our expectations as citizens.
Yeah.
Even though we appreciate that it's a difficult situation, they have not put in resources. The testing of people they've arrested more people than they have tested.
Mr. Mahiya,
if you look at the people that have been tested, they've arrested more people than they have been tested.
Yeah.
And in the quarantine centers, people are getting more infected in the quarantine centers than they are. So we see people that are dying where the COVID is actually discovered posthumously when people are doing post-mortem. So there's been a spread of the pandemic, and government hasn't done enough to ensure that the virus doesn't spread.
Mr. Mahiya, let me wrap with you. I'm out of time. Yes or no? Is it true that foreign nationals are leaving, running away from Zimbabwe because they expect a massive spike of COVID-19 infections?
We have not. I do not have that information, but we are expecting a massive hike in infections, and the government has shown that, and the Minister of Health has shown that, and we are expecting the worst.
Thank you very much for your time, Rashid Mahiya. He is with the Zimbabwe Crisis Coalition.